Okay.
This isn't the public part of the meeting.
Okay, got it.
Good. Thanks so much.
Hey, Mr. Meadows, do you mind being my recorder here? I just wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine.
Okay, well, on the vote for Speaker of the House, it's my understanding that some of the folks like Mick Mulvaney and Walter Jones, the reason that they didn't vote for John Boehner as Speaker was because they had to, any Speaker candidate had to reach a minimum for in order to be eligible, and if they didn't reach that minimum, then it would be subject to caucusing and a new candidate. Was that the case? Do you want to elaborate on that? And also, what is the reason that you voted for Boehner? Because there's been a lot of rumors that maybe there was some real pressure on some of the folks that were going to vote against
I had no pressure. I mean, you know, and from a standpoint of there was really only two candidates. And Mick Mulvaney and I and a number of the other delegates had talked about that. There was only two candidates for Speaker. When you saw it, it was Nancy Pelosi and John Boehner. And so when you get to that, there was a chance. And I was late in terms of the voting. There was a chance at that point with nobody else running for Speaker. And I'd shared this early on that actually he had been the one that had been nominated. There was no other people nominated. That's not to say that somebody couldn't have come from the floor, but there was a group of 20 or 30 that were looking to try to find another candidate, but there was no concerted effort. So the only option we had was to give Nancy Pelosi more votes than John Boehner at that point. Now, does that mean that she would necessarily be Speaker? The answer to that is no, because you were right with your first part, because you've actually got to get the majority of those that cast votes. And so in doing that, what they would have done is come back. But even if it had come back to the caucus, there was really nobody that was willing to run. I mean,
but at that point, couldn't you guys have renominated John Boehner if there was nobody else willing to run if he didn't reach his minimum?
Well, it wouldn't have been a nomination process. What it does is that you go up and you go back to that. I think what happened, I mean, Jeff Duncan and I of South Carolina had a number of conversations about it. There was not the overwhelming coup that was out there, you know, that you perhaps read about. Nobody had approached me in terms of who I was voting for or who I wasn't. And so I know if I wasn't being whipped for it, that there wasn't really a viable candidate. And really at that point, it was really more of a decision. Did we give Nancy Pelosi the majority of the votes or John Boehner? And I'll take John Boehner over Nancy Pelosi any day.
Okay. So, gotcha. Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.